Hello there. According to some, UK fossil fuel energy providers will make excess profits of £170 billion in the next 2 years. So they must be taxed into the ground, they squeal. Now this story about the up to, and yes it is up to, £170 billion in excess profits that fossil fuel and generating companies are predicted to make over the next 2 years appears to emanate from a Bloomberg report. But it has sparked more debate about further tying fossil fuel energy companies to the windfall tax rack, instead of expecting the national debt and taxes to pay for keeping UK energy bills low, despite wholesale prices ramping up. And the report says an unnamed person familiar with the matter told them that officials would brief the new PM on the £170 billion when they got into office. But the report also said that the Treasury said it did not recognise those figures. But it did sting the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, to try and use it to batter Liz Truss with during her first session of PMQs, after she ruled out any more windfall taxes. Here's exactly what he said.
I am against a windfall tax. I believe it is the wrong thing to be putting companies off investing in the United Kingdom just when we need to be growing the economy.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for that answer. I ask because the Treasury estimates are that the energy producers will make £170 billion in excess profits over the next 2 years. The Prime Minister knows she's no choice but to back an energy price freeze. But it won't be cheap, and the real choice, the political choice, is who is going to pay. Is she really telling us that she's going to leave these vast excess profits on the table and make working people foot the bill for decades to come?
Well, I understand that people across our country are struggling with the cost of living and they're struggling with their energy bills. And that is why I, as Prime Minister, will take immediate action to help people with the cost of their energy bills. And I will be making an announcement to this House on that tomorrow.
And that raises a couple of pertinent questions. First, is that £170 billion the worldwide earnings of these companies, where they may already pay huge amounts of taxes, so they can't be taxed here in the UK? Second, is Starmer suggesting that HMRC is going to let £170 billion of profit sit there completely untaxed? If so, he obviously doesn't know the tax man. All profits are taxed. Third, is this £170 billion in excess profit therefore before tax is taken out or after tax is taken out? Because it's either one or the other. And this matters, because if it's excess profit before tax, then the taxman would get the higher rate of corporation tax from the oil and gas companies of 30%, plus a supplementary rate of 10%, and then the current windfall rate of 25%. That's 65% in total, meaning the taxman is already in line to get 65% of that £170 billion. That's a cool 110,500 million quid. And if this is excess profit after tax, then our taxman would collect nearly 316 billion quid. But Starmer made it sound as if there will be £170 billion of untouched and untaxed excess profit sitting on a table somewhere. But during his stint at the dispatch box on Thursday for the energy debate, Starmer was challenged on the matter of tax by Tory MP Mark Harper, who said that it was his understanding that much of this was not profits of UK companies, so could not be taxed here. To which the leader of the opposition replied, "If there is any doubt, I invite the Treasury to disclose the documents so that we can all evaluate them. And I thought, hang on a minute, it was you that brought it up at PMQs the day before, as if you knew the whole picture. Was he misleading everyone? Now, windfall taxes sound all well and good when looked at in isolation, but we should take a longer view on these matters. Oil and gas extraction is a financially risky business, especially if politicians get their grubby hands in the pot. And those companies have to take the rough with the smooth and plan ahead as best they can. But when they take a battering, no one cares. For example, energy companies took losses during the pandemic, and according to Statista.com, Shell alone lost $21.5 billion in 2020. No one shed a tear. People expect companies like that to build up a contingency war chest during the good times to deal with the bad ones. But nowadays politicians want to tax them more in the good times to leave them short when the bad times pop up, no doubt. And then there's the matter of the huge excess profits green energy companies are making because all prices are tied to gas prices. They are not being windfall taxed because the claim is they will use the money to invest in more green energy. But big oil and gas companies are also engaged in green energy. How about letting them do the same? And here's what The Guardian said back in 2008. The last time a windfall tax was imposed on North Sea operators in 2005, it brought short-term gains to the Treasury, but led to a slump in drilling activity that ultimately cut tax revenues. And how about those companies that creamed it in during the pandemic? They weren't hammered. Anyway, I'll let you decide on the merits of all of those. And if you say that only fossil fuel companies should be subjected to this extra tax, then it's not an excess profits tax. It's not a windfall tax. It's just another targeted fossil fuel tax. Nothing of what Keir Starmer and his Labour Party are saying about this makes any real sense, and their presentation of it as some possible, in the future, £170 billion just lying around untaxed on the table is fanciful rubbish in the extreme. But it will take the gullible lefties in hook, line, sinker, rod, boat and jetty. So I see it as misleading. But was it also misleading Parliament?